Hello and welcome to Bureau Bites, a regular pod bite bringing you news from Vietnam and the region. I'm Matt Cowan, the Bureau Chief and your host. Thank you for joining me for this 10-minute bite. Well, on the 14th of March, the Vietnamese government announced temporary changes to regulations on the entry and exit of foreigners into the country due to coronavirus. Those changes affect travellers who are either from Schengen countries, the UK and Northern Ireland, or travellers who have visited or transited through those countries within 14 days of their expected entry into Vietnam. In addition, visas upon arrival for all foreign nationals have been suspended. That decision was made effective from 12 noon on March 15 for 30 days. Diplomats, officials, experts, highly skilled workers, according to the Vietnam government's official news source VGP News, will be medical checked and quarantined in accordance with Ministry of Health guidelines before being allowed or denied entry. Already, Vietnam's tourism industry has been decimated by the virus, with reports suggesting the economic impact for the first quarter of 2020 will be somewhere in the vicinity of $7 billion US. But like almost everything at the moment, that may be revised up as the true impact of the virus becomes better known and as it draws on further into the year. So how are travel operators faring in Vietnam and the region? I spoke to Linh, a principal founder of Luxperia, an inbound travel company that tailors boutique travel experiences throughout Asia. Linh, who's based in Ho Chi Minh City, tells us more about the impact COVID-19 is having on tourism in Vietnam and what the future holds for travel in the region. Linh, thank you for joining Bureau Bites.
Thanks, Matt. It's my pleasure.
What impact is COVID-19 having on tourism in Vietnam at the moment?
Well, as you can imagine, it's affecting everybody right now, from the local people who we hire as local guides all the way through to the large corporate hotels and the airlines. It's not a case where people aren't wanting to travel. It's because they can't because of the restrictions, both from the government coming in protection of the locals and the residents in Vietnam, but also with the closures that we're experiencing local sites.
What are the short-term and long-term repercussions that the industry can expect?
Well, from an international global level, it's becoming an economic crisis as well as a health crisis because obviously when people aren't trading, then the economies will fall. Subsequently, the snowball effect will also apply to everything in terms of local produce, accessibility, learning, schools. It unfortunately affects everybody. In terms of working on a local level, what's important is that people and businesses alike are prepared to bounce back and support one another in terms of supporting local business and trade. Starting local, it can help generate the macroeconomics.
What are companies like Luxperia doing to survive this downturn?
Well, we're fairly lucky with Luxperia because we are a tight and agile team. We have a very, very flexible work policy with a lot of our staff working from home. With the larger companies, they're also implementing such strategies. For example, reducing staff hours, allowing people to work from home, asking staff to take their holidays or take their leave immediately. Obviously, it's important for us to protect jobs where we can. And for us, it's important for us to look internally and set up ourselves for through training from, developing business strategies as to how we're going to bounce back, working on internal systems, standard practices, all of those things that you've always wanted to do if you have the time. Well, now we've got the time.
That was Linh, a principal founder of Luxperia, based in Ho Chi Minh City. Well, that's all for this Bureau Bite. If you liked what you heard, please review the Bureau podcast wherever you get your podcasts. This has been Matt Cowan. Until our next Pod Bite, keep up to date with what's happening in Vietnam and the region by going to thebureauasia.com and on Facebook and Instagram at The Bureau Asia.